Hey everyone, it's Nate here with Element Van Life. Just wanted to do my Tuesday Q&A video. I do these every Tuesday. Post your questions in the comment section below and then I will answer them in the next one. There is a frequently asked questions section on my website, so if any of the questions coincide with that, I'm not going to answer them in the video, so be sure to check that out before posting any questions. Let's get started, guys. We have a lot of great questions to go over this week. The first one comes from an anonymous user. They say, Nate, how do you plan to handle retirement? When you get too old to work, do you contribute to a Roth IRA or 401k? So, I guess to answer the second part of that question, I do not currently contribute to a 401k, but I do have a 401k from when I worked for, for a corporation for a few years out of college. So, that being said, once I pay off my student loans and get rid of those, because that is a big percentage of my monthly expenses, then I'll be able to take that money and start contributing it towards, towards retirement, I guess, and towards future savings and future investments and things like that. So that is the plan. That'll be in a couple of years, but maybe longer, but it is what it is. And then regarding the too old to work, I mean, I don't know if I ever want to be too old to work. I think that into my old age, I want to continue to try to produce income, and even if it's just a little bit, just to continue to keep my mind active and things like that. I think that would be really important if I ever make it to that age anyways. So Cameron Crow is the next one here. Do you ever get depressed? And if so, what's your way of dealing with it? I think that everybody gets depressed at times. I think that it's pretty normal to be, to go for a few days and be sad every once in a while, and I absolutely do occasionally. Dealing with it, I don't know. It's tough to say. I mean, I guess just trying to keep your spirits up and think positively, focus on the positives. That's kind of what I find helps me in those situations. But yeah, I mean, sometimes you just get down, just down on yourself or whatever, and it is what it is. But just try to power through it, I guess, and that's kind of how I deal with it, and eventually it does usually get better, and there's positive times as well, so they tend to, even each other out, I guess. Visual Traveler, you're up kind of early, aren't you? It's right around 5:30 here in Alabama, so it must be 4:30 where you are. Yeah, regarding that, I scheduled the upload. I shot that video like Monday afternoon for last week, and then I scheduled it for 5:30. I'm very rarely up at 4:30 or 5:30 in the morning here, although it is about 7 right now, and that's pretty good. Justin P. Hey, Nate, do you have no choice to live in your element, or did you choose, or did you just wanted to? I'm sure you said this, but I haven't watched all your videos yet. Yeah, I chose to live in the element. I had a choice, but I made the decision to do this basically to save money on rent and to be able to travel full time while earning an income, and that's kind of what I'm still working towards to an extent. But hopefully getting there soon enough. Alfredo Roman says, do you worry about the element giving up on you, or would you see it as an opportunity to just get a bigger van? I love your videos, super interesting and different. Thanks. So yeah, I do worry about it though, giving up on me. I mean, yes, I would probably take that opportunity to get something bigger and convert something bigger, but that being said, I think it would be a problem if if the element just kind of gave up. I'd much rather keep it in good shape and sell it and try to get an increased resale value from it, and then put that money that I got from it towards the towards the new van. So yeah, I definitely would worry about it giving up, but hopefully I don't have to deal with that in the next few years. I mean, Hondas are known for having good reliability in engines and transmissions mostly, depending on what model year and stuff and what make, but hopefully, fingers crossed, I don't have that issue, but we'll see. JShim12, can you post a list of questions that you cover in the video? I thought about doing that, and I know that in a few Q&As I have put them on the bottom so that you can read the actual question and you can see it. It would add a lot to the workflow of producing these videos, and a lot goes into especially the other videos that I'm putting up, and so it would be pretty difficult to do that. Hobo Hacker, what tools do you carry with you, and do you do any car maintenance yourself? Yeah, so I do some maintenance and repairs myself. I've made a couple of videos about the times that I have. There are things that I'm not comfortable working with, like pressurized AC systems and things like that. I know that I can learn it. It's just that I don't know, it's tough. And then I don't have that many tools. I mean, I do have like basic wrenches and stuff like that, but for the most part, I don't have jacks or jack stands. Like, I don't really have anything like that. So if I have to do like some serious maintenance, like getting underneath and things like that, it could be a problem. So I don't really carry too many tools. Life Prospector, hey Nate, enjoy your channel. Currently building an Astro camper van. How do you tell Right on. That's awesome. How do you tell how full your solar battery is? Is this something that is on the charge controller? So the charge controller does have like a little light that shows the health of the battery. Green is usually above 50%, and then red is like below 50%. There might even be like a shade of like yellowish orange that's like 25 to 50, and then below 25 and stuff like that. But basically, red is bad and green is good kind of thing. And I also have, I can show you guys. Here's the charge controller, so that's that light that I was talking about right there. And then I also have this little 12-volt extension thing right here, and it's got a little readout. You can see the little white thing right there, and it just shows the multimeter readout on it. So it'll show if I'm at 12.7 or 12.4 or 11.9 or something like that, and that's a good gauge of how much battery you have. Obviously, I think every battery is a little bit different, but generally for a deep cycle battery, 12.9 is full, and then when I'm getting into that like 11.8 area or so, or 11.5 even when the load is running, when the fridge is running on it, then you know that it's getting really empty. Winston Bean, where do you get your mattress? Would you recommend it? Yeah, I definitely would recommend it. I love it. I mean, it's not like a super comfortable like Tempur-Pedic mattress or anything like that, but it is it's a foam mattress. It's about 4 inches thick, and it's been pretty comfortable. I sleep pretty well on it, and I'm a side sleeper, and I still manage to make it through the night okay, and it's not so bad. I do recommend it, and there's a link on my website if you check it out on elementvanlife.com/shop, and there'll be a link to it on Amazon on there. Jack32767 Q&A, your current logo always trolls me into thinking it's evil instead of EVL. Did you do that on purpose? LOL, I love your channel. Thanks. Maybe. Green Man Dan, hey Nate, loved your video. Thanks. Listening to you speak Spanish made me wonder if you have ever considered recording each video in English and Spanish for a wider audience. No, I haven't really thought too much about that. I don't think that my Spanish is good enough to be able to do that, and it would take a lot of effort, like a lot more to do the Spanish ones. I just don't know if it would be worth it. It would be pretty tough for me to do that. And then when you travel, do you ever take day laborer jobs? No, I guess not really. Like, I've never done like a single day job or something like that. I know that they're out there, and I probably should look into it more often. Like, just go on Craigslist and look in the gigs section and see if I could take a job like that just to make a little bit extra cash if I need to, but I haven't done that yet. Wookie Senshi, have you ever thought about giving hypermiling a try on the open highway with multiple lanes? I actually had to look up what hypermiling was, but I do the best that I can to try to like stay off the gas when I'm coasting downhill, and like coasting up to like a stop sign or like a stoplight. I do pull off the gas more often than not. I try to stay off the brakes and just kind of slowly make my way there. So I think that does help. And there's been times, like I said, where I've achieved like 27, 28 miles to the gallon on trips going downhill and stuff like that. But overall, the Element just it's big. I think I have a lot of weight in here. It's all-wheel drive, so that 23, 24 on the highway is kind of the max of where I'm going to be getting with it. It's also a big box, so it's not very aerodynamic. I think that probably plays into it as well. It looks like you have another question here about my fridge here. Just curious where you leave the dial on the fridge. I keep the thermostat on mine to about 90 degrees. I keep mine pretty much all the way as low as it goes, and I don't know about the temperature inside. I'm probably around, I had a thermometer once, but it broke pretty quickly. It didn't handle like dropping like juice and stuff on it. It just didn't do very well, and I couldn't really keep it to stay in place. But it I think when I had it, I was probably around like 42 to 48 degrees or so more often than not, which is I mean, it works for me. It's fine. Bree0831, hi Nate, I got a quick question for your next Q&A. Even though I'm asking this in the wrong season, how do your batteries hold up regarding fridge power when it's cold outside in the winter? I know you try to stay where it's warmer, but if you have less than ideal sunshine for solar panels, do the colder temps beat up the battery life faster? It's definitely possible. It's definitely possible that it does, and I haven't really noticed any different performance. I mean, when I'm in the wintertime though, like, I had to drive around quite a bit with the isolator to get it charged up, and especially because the solar panel was like slowly dying and falling apart, so that was also kind of a bit of a problem as well. But yeah, I'd say that, I mean, it makes sense that the battery would be a little bit less efficient in the wintertime, and probably, you know, over time, going through cold winters, it would probably decrease the life of the battery. But that being said, like you said, I don't really spend much time in places that it gets that cold. I mean, there was like 2 nights in New Orleans all year that got below 30 degrees, and then otherwise it was always in like the 40s, the 50s, even warmer. It was a really warm winter for the most part, very mild. Next question here comes from Brimstone Fondue. They say there were 25 juvenile great white sharks spotted off San Clemente on Sunday. Are you still okay with sharks? Southern California has been having a lot of them recently. Yeah, I've heard about the great whites and all of them. I mean, I surf all the time when I'm out there at Trestles in San Clemente, so it's it's definitely concerning, but I mean, it's to be expected. The ocean is the home of sharks. Like, it's not our home, it's the sharks' home. So, you know, we're over there invading it, I guess, to an extent, surfing, and you know, you just kind of have to just hope that it doesn't happen to you, that you don't get attacked. I mean, it's pretty rare still, even with that many sharks, but I mean, yeah, I mean, it's definitely worrying, it's definitely concerning, but it's not going to stop me from doing the thing that one of the things that I love the most, to do. So I guess it just kind of is what it is. Gary Cole, hi Nate, glad to see you on the road again. I know you have friends from college in New Orleans, but do you have friends elsewhere? Do you make friends elsewhere? Do you have friends in San Diego, South Dakota? Well, not South Dakota, I guess North Dakota, because I've been there with the beet harvest, but I didn't really make any long-term friends there. Most of the people who work the beet harvest are all traveling there, and then they all go their separate ways, and then they come back, you know, next year in the fall. So I guess some of the folks, I'll probably see them again if I go back this year. But in terms of, like, friends that I could call to, you know, stay with in a pinch, or if something got bad, I mean, yeah, I mean, I have friends in San Diego that I could do that with probably, and then definitely in New Orleans as well. John Cook, most of the cargo vans on Craigslist are overpriced. Have you considered purchasing a truck and building a homemade camper? There's a lot of examples on YouTube. So I guess maybe like a truck top camper, you mean? That's something that I've thought about. I don't know if I have the expertise to make something like lightweight like that. You know, I think it could be pretty difficult to do, but it definitely would be pretty cool. I think my best bet though is just to hold out and try to find a decent cargo van that's pretty cheap with low-ish miles, and then go from there. But yeah, I mean, you're right, a lot of the time they can definitely be overpriced. I think it depends on where you are in the country though. You know, prices tend to fluctuate and stuff, especially where there's more people, there's more vans available, and, you know, so on and so forth. Supply and demand, I guess, it's just how it factors out how the pricing ends up being. Lil Mao, awesome videos, a lot of great content lately. Thank you. I'm considering doing this when I'm 25-ish and can make a mildly livable amount on the internet with design. Right on, right on. I want to see all the states and travel for a year or two. Do you have any advice for people thinking of doing the same thing? Yeah, I mean, I guess the biggest piece of advice, and I know it's cliche, is just to go for it. You know, I sat and I pondered and thought about this and thought about doing it for years while I was really miserable at a job that I really didn't enjoy. And even after I left that job, I was just, you know, using my savings and spending it on rent and stupid things like that. And all of a sudden, you know, I don't know, it took me forever to make the decision, but once I did, I haven't regretted it since then, and I've, you know, experienced a lot in the last couple of years, and I want to keep doing this in the future. So, you know, I think the biggest thing is to, you know, not ponder about the issues. People do this, you know, you look at it and you think it's, you know, it's overwhelming and there's a lot that you have to think about, but then once you get out there and start doing it, it's really not a big deal. It just becomes like a daily routine, and it's different from the norm, but it becomes pretty normal for you. And I don't know, I think that just going for it and just taking the jump and giving it a shot is definitely worth it. Silly Philly, hey Nate, great videos, love the channel, thanks. And then let's see what your question is here about van life, and why did I choose that over simply finding the cheapest room to rent and having almost no possessions and just moving from city to city when you're bored with your surroundings, kind of going through a lifestyle crisis myself, and I don't know if van life is for me. Any insight would be appreciated, thanks, and safe travels. Yeah, so I guess I arrived at van life, cheaprvliving.com, you know, a lot of Bob's posts on there. I was like my main source of information when, you know, discovering van life and learning about what it's like to live in a car or live in a van. And I guess I arrived at it because I wanted to eliminate rent as an expense entirely. And, you know, right now I have very little possessions, I have very little expenses, and getting rid of rent is the reason why. I mean, cheapest rent you're going to find, I mean, unless you're in the Midwest or something like that, but in a big city, you know, maybe $400 or $500 a month. I mean, if you're like in a city like New York or LA or San Diego, it's quite a bit harder. I mean, it's definitely possible to find rent that cheap even in those places, but you kind of have to know people there and have connections there already, which I don't have in every single city. So I don't know. I think that eliminating rent entirely, even at $300, $400, $500 a month, that's still one of the largest expenses that I'm going to have every month now. I mean, to this day, if I added that to what I already have, then my expenses go up by, I don't know, 50%, maybe even, or, you know, 40% or so. But that's a lot. That's a huge percentage of month-to-month costs. So eliminating rent was what I was fixated on from the beginning. So that's probably why I didn't move into an apartment. I understand, you know, a lot of folks saying that van life isn't for them and that it could be a challenge, but I don't know. I mean, it depends what your concerns are and things like that, but there are people who have thought about it and are still thinking about it and have actually made the leap and do it, and they all had the same exact concerns. They all, I mean, not every single person had every single concern, but everybody has had different concerns, and I'm sure that, you know, any of the concerns that you're having about van life are things that people are probably feeling elsewhere, and things that people who live in vans full-time and in RVs full-time now probably felt before they made the leap. So I don't know, I guess going back to the previous comment that I made for a little mile before, but I guess just going for it and giving it a shot is the best advice that I can give, and that's what I did, and I'm really happy that I did it. And the last question here comes from Lucas Violim. They say, thanks for answering my question, Nate. You're doing amazing work on this channel. Thank you. I read the FAQ, and you said that you do freelance video editing as an income source. I was wondering how someone could get started in that. So, I mean, for me, I basically got started in video editing with my smartphone and Movie Maker and just producing YouTube videos, which if you go back, you can see them on the channel here. So, and then over time, I just got more and more comfortable with it. I added, obviously, camera gear, the drone, and the GoPro I was using more often, and then my mirrorless camera, my Canon EOS M, and just kind of producing more and more videos, getting more comfortable. I ended up, getting a new computer and upgrading to Premiere Pro and just kind of learning it. But all of that is, I mean, it's entirely self-taught. It's getting out there and actually using the software, learning what all the different features do. And there are still things in Premiere Pro that I don't really fully understand and that I don't really know how to do. But there are also tons of great tutorials online. I mean, YouTube has tons and tons of videos on how to do special effects and all this stuff with Premiere Pro, color grading, color correction. I mean, all different types of editing, and then obviously how to shoot the video as well, like how to frame up shots and things like that. And I mean, I haven't watched a whole lot of those tutorial videos, but occasionally I do I have to reference them if there's something I want to learn about, and if I want to learn how to do it. And they're a great way to figure out how to get really, to get good with Premiere Pro. And then from that point, you can start earning income from it and start, not just editing, the YouTube videos, but I realized that I could edit other videos as well. And that's kind of, I guess, kind of how I did it. But I mean, there is so much information out there on the internet, and so much that you can learn from the internet. And I don't know, I guess that's probably the way to do it. So that sums it up for all the questions this week, guys. Post your questions below, and then I will answer them in the next one. The next one will be on Tuesday, June 6th. It'll be in June. It's only in a couple days, but June 6th. I'll talk to you all in the next video.